Welcome back to Jack on Tracks, and in this episode we're going to continue on with this Berkshire knitting build. A lot's changed since the last time you were here. That was because I just wanted to get some work done, and it was just a little bit easier for me to just focus on getting these edges as perfect as I could and not having to worry about the camera and angles and all the other stuff that goes along with videoing. All right, so I did a test piece. This side's brick red, and this is oxide, both from Rust-Oleum, and this is oxide from Mr. Color. It's really more of a brown, and I kind of like it, but it's not. I don't think it's the right color for this building. And this side's a little dark, so I think I'm going to shoot. I think I'm going to shoot the whole outside of the building in this color. And all right, so this is a warehouse, and from what I've seen in a few pictures of their warehouses, of their buildings and everything, the insides of the buildings are painted a light color, which kind of makes sense because light travels. So if the place was painted a dark color and you had lights on, it would never seem, the room would seem very dark, wouldn't seem bright at all. So your eye plays into that perception. So what I believe they did was they painted this a off-color white. The inside of this building is all going to be an off-color white, and the outside was obviously brick. There's going to be a floor in here. I have 2 pieces of 30,000 styrene where I'm going to. I have a couple other pictures. There's expansion joints cut in here. I don't know what they were cut to and how, what their what their actual footage is in this. So I was gonna just go with however big that is and just dropping a line down there. And so that's the plan for that. I think that's gonna look good. We're gonna wall this off here. I'm gonna make a wall on the inside with a doorway and possibly windows on this wall looking into the looking into this building, and then possibly a window on this wall looking in here. We're still working on that plan, but it's coming along. The structure wise, we have, like I said, I have a bunch of Plastruct material that we're going to use in here, and I just had it. All right, so I'm using. I bought these thinking that those would be fine, and these were 1/2 inch, and these are 3/8. The half inch look too big for this build, but you know what they look really good for? That's right, flat car loads. So I mean, like, that's huge. That's way too big. So I think these 3/8 are. I think these 3/8 are about the right size. I don't think they're too overpowering in there. I think that's going to look about right. So we're going to have. I got to order. I way under ordered these. So because I need 2 holes, 3 hole pieces, 4. I got to order about 3 more sets of these. And then to top it all off, I kind of need pieces to come across to interlock. So we're gonna I'm gonna order a bunch of these. It's so difficult. I'm having a problem finding these locally, and I don't know why. I don't know if they just don't, not a lot of local suppliers for these or what, but I mean, I wish they were more readily available. So when they get down to here, they're about half. So whatever this line's going to be, they actually fall about halfway. So, like I said, we're going to put. I'm gonna close up these gaps on the inside with some of these the pieces that are on the out. I have a ton of extra of those, so we're going to use those. And what I started experimenting with, and this has been very successful, was I have fancy cornice and I have plain cornice. All right, you can see the difference in them. I hope. So what I've been doing is I'm just taking my knife and I'm going along this bottom brick line, and I'm just cutting it off and then gluing the two together, and I'm having this little gap. This gap is perfect. I can get a piece of 40,000 styrene in here with no problem. So when those go on top, I'll have the ability to slide a roof into here if wanted. I don't know if they're going to want that. It's just an option. So I'd rather have the ability to do that than have to figure out how to do it later. So I'll show you how to do that, and we'll start doing it, and then I'll go into time lapse with it because it takes a good 4 or 5 minutes to cut through that piece, and you can't go quick. You got to go nice and slow with it. All right, so we're gonna work on this base. This has been polyed. I polyed the edges, 2 coats of poly on the edges, 2 coats of poly on the top, sanded in between. This bottom section right here is going to get poly put on it. 1 coat, that's all it needs on the bottom. And that should be that. This wood's been cut and sitting in my wood shop, and down here for a while. This is actually from the beginning of Fremo build, so over a year. So it's done with its twisting and its warping. I hope it's done with its twisting and its warping, but as far as I know, it's done with its twisting and its warping. So, and it's pretty flat, which was a problem I was having. Yeah. So that's it for this. Let's get this out of the way and start working on. I'll show you how we did this. All right, so this is I just cut 1 line off of here. This one's already done, so we're gonna move on. It is so much easier if you even think about doing this. It is so much easier to just leave it on the sprue and cut the sprue back to be out of your way. And it's a way to hold it, and it just makes it so much easier to do. All right, so what you're going to want to do, very carefully and very, very gently at first, is find that first row and run a brand new, nice and sharp number 11 blade right in there. You'll start to feel it. It'll start to drag a little. That's fine. All right. That means it's cutting down in there. Just flip it around. Find that line. Come out to the end. You'll start to see a little bit of stuff building up along the edge of your blade. That's perfectly fine. You can see it starting to cut through. All right, so I'm just going to time lapse it from here on to the end, and that's really it. One brick. It's pretty straight. This piece right over here is in that section, but the rest of this is pretty straight. It happens. It's not going to affect anything because it's under a cap. So that's basically that. So this one's already done. We're going to leave this attached there. Come over here, and this is the cornice piece, the fancy cornice piece. We're just going to... Just going to clean up these edges a little bit in here. Don't really have to. A little bite on the back. Same with this. Not necessary, but it could help. All right, so these tops are not really flat, so I kind of cut this edge a little bit in on an angle. These are a little worse, so I'll show you. Truing it up a little better. So that's about that. Let's get this bottom piece done. But that's going to be sitting right flat on top of that like that. So switch that around. So this leg is a little bit longer. You can actually see it a little bit longer. But not really from me filing it, but those two lined up, and they're lined up. So, all right, guys, welcome back. So, we got these pretty much as close as we're going to get them. So, all right, so take my 1, 2, 3 blocks, get them in here, square them up against each other, square those up against that. Let that sit. Doing that bottom piece, the capillary action gets probably about halfway through on the bottom, and then hitting it across the top. You saw where it squeezed out a little bit. That's kind of what you're looking for, and that just means you got good connection. You get all the gaps and everything filled in there. So that's pretty much how you do that. You want to make sure that these edges are lined up. They're pretty much lined up. So that's 2. Right? So, I mean, we can start putting these together. And then, you'd start getting these together, but you'd also start trimming down you got to do front and back of these. So this takes a little while. These are going to be really difficult, I think, because if you look, they're not supported on top. These are supported on the top, so it's going to hold them in place a little bit better. So let's give this a shot. Doing the same thing, cutting that one off the bottom. This one's no good. All right. I'll write down one. All right, so my idea is I'm gonna take some of the double-sided carpet tape that I got around here, and I'm gonna stick this down and do it. But I'm not gonna do it right now because I don't really need them right now. That one came out a little. The other one came out a little weird. So I think having the top and bottom holds in place a little better, but it also adds some pressure on it, which is making it a little hard to cut. So I'm gonna figure that out. But yeah, got two. I gotta do 5, 6, only 7 more to go. So I'm not gonna bore you with all that nonsense, and we're gonna move on to figuring out what I need for the the support columns. So basically what we're going to do, change of mind here. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to figure out the floor. This is going to get put down. I got to get this down on here. This got to get down on here pretty soon. Look at that. Did that just happen? Not exactly sure. I think that just I think something just went my way. Yes, it did. It went my way. So that's close enough to the middle that I'm going to call that close enough to that middle. So now all I got to do is figure out what type of material what type of glue I'm going to use to hold this in place. So that's the big question. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a light sanding, even though this is pretty smooth. And I'm going to do a little more research. I have contact cement. That should work, but I don't want this to get bumpy and wavy. So I'm going to do a little experiment. I'm going to use some scrap board that I got floating around over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this thin stuff. And if this comes out smooth, then I'm going to go ahead with that, because then that's thicker, so that should definitely come out smooth. I'm going to get another piece of wood, and I'm going to do a little test piece. All right, guys, so I'll come back after I get that little test piece done. All right, guys, so we're back. This is a little bit of crossover, because I don't know if any of you know, or some of you do, I also do a little bit of leather work. So basically what I wound up using was some Barge contact cement, And I put some on the wood, and then some on the styrene. Now, I got a little bit on the surface here, which is coming off, which is good. All right. So this is not. I mean, I'm gonna have to really pull to get this to come off. So that is what we're using. We're going to use contact cement. Basically, what you wind up doing is you basically coat this whole piece with the contact cement. Lay this in place. I'm going to have to figure out how to hold this in place. Then we use tape. I'm going to tape this down in place. Roll it out. Both sides. Then take it off and let it dry. Flip it over and let it dry. While it's drying, I can do the same thing onto this side. And let both of them dry. I'm going to leave this taped in somehow. And then we'll go from there. Think that's the way we're going to do it. I'll try to film it. I don't know if I can film it, but yeah, this is literally 25 minutes. This is not coming off. This is pretty solid. So, and in general, when I put two pieces of leather together with this stuff, the stitches are strictly cosmetic. They're really not holding it together. All right, guys. So let me start setting it up. That's pretty much what I'm going to do. Gap is not an issue. I'm going to coat this, lay this over, roll it out, flip it back over, add a little bit to the edges, and then go from there. That'll keep it a little neater. This should keep it together, one sheet, and let's go give it a shot. I'm going to try to set you up to see if I can do it, but I don't think so. I think you're going to take my word for it. But I'll give it a shot. All right, guys, so we're back. I wasn't able to film it. It just looked like me doing a bunch of hand movements. So I covered the entire piece of wood with the Barge contact cement and rolled the plastic back over on it, pushed it down really hard, peeled it off as quick as I could because I didn't want it to set, and I went back in and colored in any spots that were bare. There was a few spots that were bare, even though there was contact cement across this whole thing, but a couple of bare spots. Right now, we are at about 25 minutes since I did this. So I'm just going to give this, I'm going to give this side a rough trim. I'm going to give this a rough trim and just leave it. This side is looking pretty good. I want this to dry up. Contact cement really never, I guess, really never really dries, but it does. Wherever it gets to the air, it usually dries up pretty good. So I'm gonna let that sit, and then we'll start discussing what we're gonna do with this building. So I'm gonna give this a good 24 hours to dry. I'm a little proud over here, not a problem. We can trim that up later. This edge over here, it looks perfect. So I think there's going to be a nice looking piece. We're going to shoot this gray, and I got to come in here and I got to scribe in lines. When I'm done scribing in those lines, that's going to determine where these pieces are kind of sitting. So it's a little... we're a little bit big because this side's not trimmed in, but like this piece is going to sit, come across here. There's going to be a piece here. There's going to be a piece there. This piece is going to tie into these side pieces. Are going to tie into these cross pieces. So we'll get around to that very shortly. Really, not a lot. Really didn't have that much to do in this video, but I hope it's a short one we edit out. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Hit that notification button. There's more of this to come. Plus, there's I think there's going to be another video of the Overton build. So stay tuned for that. And as always, guys, I'll catch you later.